So I really like gear. It's no secret, if you watch this channel at all, you know that a lot of the videos that I put up have to do with gear for guitar players and producers and writers and basically anything that makes noise. And I also really like innovation. I like it when a company or a builder tries a new way of doing things or a new approach to an old piece of gear. And I really love that attitude, that push for innovation, trying new things, new ways of doing things, because it's only good for guitar players. It only makes things better for us. I say this all the time. There's never been a better time to be a guitar player from a gear perspective, from a music perspective, a technology perspective. I really think this is, in a lot of ways, or some ways, the golden age of guitar playing. And when I think about companies and builders that are constantly pushing the envelope and innovating, Chase Bliss is one that immediately comes to mind. If you know anything about their pedals and Joel, the man that runs the company, you know that they're complex, they are unique, and whether you like them or not, you have to admit they're pretty interesting. So when Joel reached out to me a couple weeks ago and asked if I wanted to check this out, I immediately said yes. This is something completely new. It's a new approach, a new way of doing things. It's a preamp, overdrive, fuzz, distortion pedal, but it certainly doesn't look like any preamp or overdrive or fuzz pedal I've ever used before. So in today's episode of Gear Talk, we're going to check this thing out. This is the Chase Bliss Preamp Mark II Automatone pedal. We're going to put it through its paces, talk about the good stuff, talk about the bad stuff, and hopefully answer the question of who is this pedal for? Now, before we get started, a quick plug. Mark your calendars for July 11th, 2020 at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is the first show of Backstage Live, my brand new live stream series that I'm launching here on the YouTube channel that's going to be a full band live show. We've been working on this for months. It's coming down to the wire, but I'm incredibly excited to show you guys what we've been working on. It's going to be a live stream full band concert from here in my home studio setup. So if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to stay notified of when we're going live and when I'm posting new videos here on the channel. And if you'd like to support the live stream series, there is a PayPal donation link that you can check out in the description box down below, which goes directly towards helping us offset the upstart cost of getting this project going. So, and also I should point out that Chase Bliss did provide me with this pedal for free. They're not paying for this video in any other way. I made no commitments to do any type of video, and they didn't tell me what to say at all. All of these opinions and words are my own. So with all that out of the way, let's jump in. So what is the Preamp Mark II and what does it do? As the name implies, it's a preamp pedal. Now, if you're not familiar with preamp pedals, I made a video on those a few months ago that you can check out here. But essentially, it's several pedals, or it accomplishes several things with one box. It's an overdrive, a fuzz, a distortion, an EQ, a tone shaping tool. It's a pretty versatile effect, and it's something that I recommend that a lot of guitar players have on their board. Now, this particular one is actually a collaboration with Benson Amps, with Chris Benson. And it's sort of a souped up version of the Benson preamp pedal. It has a lot of the same controls here on the faders, but they've added quite a few features that you don't get on the Benson preamp itself. So on the top panel, you've got some faders to control instead of knobs. On the left, you've got overall output volume, and then you've got a 3-band EQ, treble, middle, and bass. And on the right, you have your gain control. Now, faders are a cool way to control a pedal, but that's not the coolest part about this thing. That's right, this thing's got presets. And these faders are motorized. They're flying faders, similar to how you would see on a recording console. And what this allows you to do is save your presets. You can dial in a sound that you want, save it to the pedal, and every time you recall it, it's going to bring that preset up with the faders where they were when you left them. Then down here you have what they call the arcade controls. You can change the mid frequency to be before the preamp circuit or after the preamp circuit. Your Q button down here controls the width of the mid frequency band that you are shaping. Then here you have two clipping diodes that you can choose from, a silicon diode and a germanium diode, which is going to give you different overdrive and clipping characteristics. And then over here you have the fuzz control. This apparently makes a great fuzz pedal, and you can choose between an open or a gated fuzz. Now, I say apparently because I actually haven't even played this thing yet. I just plugged it up and was banking through the different presets, watching the faders move around, but I really don't know what this thing sounds like. So got my Novo Ceres J. We're going into a Rev D20 and DI out of the D20 into my Apollo interface, and that's our starting point. So let's just see what this first preset sounds like. All right, so it seems like a pretty versatile pedal. I was impressed with the initial playthrough, but I don't like to just twist knobs, or in this case, move faders to get an idea of how a pedal sounds. Instead, I want to produce a track using this thing as much as I can, see what it's really capable of, how versatile it is. See, the thing about this pedal is it stirred up a bit of a controversy because of the price. At the time of making this video, it's retailing for $750 US, which is a lot of money for a pedal. Now, I can kind of understand why. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts and there was a lot of research and development that went into this thing. So I want to put it through its paces and see if I think it's worth that price tag. If you can justify dropping almost $800 after taxes for a preamp pedal. Admittedly, a very cool preamp pedal, but still a preamp pedal. All right, so I've got a session pulled up. We're using Luna today, and I've got a bass line put down that I think is going to work well over the drum loops that I've got going on. It's kind of an upbeat, funky kind of thing. So the first guitar part that I want to put down is doubling the bass line, but I don't want it to be just a normal, clean guitar. I want it to have some character. So I thought maybe utilizing the Preamp Mark II to kind of give it a radio telephone-esque quality. So right now I'm playing this Diego Vila guitar, which is on loan to me for a while. This thing is incredible. We're going into the Rev D20, and this is what it sounds like on its own. Pretty straight ahead, but listen what happens when I turn on the preamp. It's really pushing the mid-range forward and giving it that kind of honky telephone sort of thing, and I think it's going to work well over this bass line. Okay, so it's the next day. It's time to finish up this track, and I think I want to start by adding some fuzz down. I've got the Novo Solus here, and I'm going to dial in a fuzz sound with the preamp and see what we can get. So right now, here is just the D20 by itself, and this is something I just quickly pulled up with the preamp. A super mid-scooped, pretty much all high-end kind of radio sound. We're going to see how that works with this track. If I need to, I can pull in a little bit more of the mid-range. But I feel like it's going to get lost in the mix if it's got that much mid-range going on. So I'm just going to pull it down a little bit. And then I'm going to try switching it from open to gated. So here it is, open. And that's gated. Sounds like a broken radio, which is cool. And right now it's on the germanium diode. Let's switch to silicon. A little smoother. Go back to germanium. I like that. Let's see if we can come up with a part. Alright, so for this next part I need some kind of rhythm chord thing, but I want it to have some character and I want it to cut through the mix. So I switched to the Firebird here with the Firebird pickups. These are not mini humbuckers, they're Firebird pickups. There is a difference, which I recently learned. And right now it sounds pretty good right out of the gate, but that's not really what I want. I want more character, I want some more vibes. So I'm gonna add some tremolo and reverb with the Strymon Flint. So that's a little bit better, but it's still lacking something. So in this case, I'm going to use the preamp as an EQ to push the mid-range forward, bring down some of that low end, and help kind of cut through the mix a little bit. So that's pretty good, but it's kind of close to what I already have with that first guitar part. So I'm going to adjust the mid-range and find something that's a little bit different. Bring back a little bit of the bottom end. And then bring the mix of the mids down a little bit. And I'm also adding some of the silicon transistor in there to give a little bit of harmonic distortion to it. It's not much, it's not adding any gain or overdrive, but that's without the pedal, and you can tell that just using it as an EQ is giving me quite a bit more character. It still sounds like this guitar, it's just a little bit more accentuated, if you will. So I'm genuinely impressed with this pedal. I think Chase Bliss and Benson did a really great job with this thing. It sounds good, it looks good, it functions well, it's easy to use, and I think the few years of R&D that they put into making this thing work really paid off. It is a genuinely useful pedal. It's a great overdrive, it's a good fuzz, it's a good EQ, a boost, and it really doesn't fall into that jack of all trades, master of none category. I mean, I would put this up against any of my favorite fuzzes, and I'm genuinely picky about fuzz sounds, but I like the different options you have here and the tone shaping controls that you have over the distortion or the overdrive sound. And if you want, you can use it just as an EQ. If you bring the gain down and match your volume with the input volume of your amp, so you're not adding any more distortion or clipping to the front end of the amp, then you can use the 3-band EQ as a tone shaping control. And because you can save presets, this pedal can essentially be all of those effects in one. You can put this on your board and essentially have a fuzz, an overdrive, a boost, an EQ. But Is it worth $750? That's the thing I keep coming back to with this pedal. Yes, it's great, and yes, it's cool that the faders move and that you can save presets. Yes, it's cool that it has an expression input and you could turn it into a wah. I would do that, but I don't have a TRS cable long enough to connect my expression pedal to this thing, so you'll have to watch Paul David's video to see that. It's a really great utility pedal. It's something that you can have on your board or in your studio that will achieve a lot of sounds quickly, easily, and really well. And I understand why it's $750. I mean, this took a lot of time, a lot of effort to put together. It's got a lot of parts that aren't found in your normal overdrive or boost pedal. I mean, each one of these faders has a servo motor in there that's moving them around, and all of the circuitry inside that's dedicated to saving the presets and recalling where the faders go. I mean, it is recording console technology built into this pedal. So in my opinion, is this worth $750? I think it is. Would I pay $750 for it? That's another question, and I genuinely don't know. $750 is a lot of money for any piece of gear, but particularly a pedal. Now again, you can justify it by saying this is not just a boost or a fuzz or an overdrive or an EQ. I mean, it's all of those things, and it's got the cool factor going on, and it's extremely usable. At no point during this track or this video did I get hung up or confused or have to dig through a menu. I mean, it's really easy to use. So I think the question to ask is not, is it worth $750? I think the question to ask is, who is this for? Well, this is not for the first timer. This is not for a beginner. If you are new to guitar and you're building your first pedal board and you're collecting your effects, especially if you're on a budget, this pedal is not for you. For $750, you could build a really great pedal board, something that has all of these effects and different pedals with a board and with a power supply for the cost of this one pedal. So if you're on a budget or you're looking to build your foundational pedal board, you're looking to collect those first few pedals that are going to be the basis of your sound, I would tell you to look elsewhere. The Preamp Mark II, it's too much money for what it does for you. But if you're the type of player that has a few pedals, you have some money laying around, and you want a really useful tool, something that's going to accomplish a lot of things quickly and really well, I would tell you to look at the Preamp Mark II. I mean, for somebody like me, who's primarily working from home now and recording at home, this pedal actually makes a lot of sense. It's something that can sit on my desktop and go straight into my DAW. I can put bass through it. I can put guitars through it. I could probably put vocals through it, actually. I'd have to get an XLR to 1/4 inch in. And whenever gigging and touring does start up again, this is something that I would absolutely put on my pedal board. The MIDI capabilities will let me patch it into my Boss switcher, so I can have that switch the presets for each song. In that respect, I think it's really cool, and I actually think it's worth the $750. So that's my thoughts on the Preamp Mark II. What do you think about this pedal? Let me know in the comments section down below. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and check out the links in the description if you want to support the channel. You can find my video course, the tone course down there, as well as links to the green room and links to the gear that I use to make these videos. Don't forget, July 11th, 2020 at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are doing Backstage Live Season 1, Episode 1. I'm incredibly excited about this. I might be using this pedal actually on that show. So be sure to put that in your calendars, and I think it's gonna be really cool. So I'd love to have you there and check out what we're doing. Slightly nervous. There's a lot of stuff we still have to figure out and get going, but I think it's gonna be really cool. Thanks again, everyone, for watching. I'm Rhett Shull, and remember, there is no plan B.